Well, hello again. Today I've come to Woods Mill, which is the home of the Sussex Wildlife Trust. And I've come very much hoping to see a water rail that several of my friends and other photographers have spotted. And let's see if I can grab some images of it. It's a very dull grey day. We seem to be having almost perpetual grey days at the moment here in the south of England. But at least it's not raining. It was raining yesterday and it's forecast to rain tomorrow. So I've come along just hoping that today the weather will give me an opportunity at least. So I know where the water rail tends to hang out. So I'm heading down there now and wish me luck. Well, as I've said in previous videos, we've had a lot of rain recently, so the paths here at Woods Mill are very muddy. Definitely Wellington boots are the order of the day. Initially, although I could hear lots of small birds, there was very little to see. And then, having walked around this little walkway here, I found a delightful robin. This little robin clearly wanted to be friends, as first he flew down to my feet and then stayed with me, flew back up into the branches and then sang to me quite regularly. I still hadn't found the water rail, but I continued on walking round Woods Mill, just looking at things, seeing how wet it was. Certainly these streams were flowing fast. Well, there are certainly lots of small birds all around, as hopefully you can hear from the audio track. But they're very hard to photograph for two reasons. First of all, they fly in and fly out so quickly and only settle for a few seconds, which by the time you've actually got the camera pointing in the right direction, they're off again. The other problem is that the places they land are so many twigs and things around that really it's very, very hard to get a handle on getting in to photograph the birds without something being in the way. Very different to when I was at Miller's Wood just a few days ago. But of course here it really is much more natural, because we're not talking about sitting in any hides with any food baiting around. This is the real world, let's call it. Very, very nice, but difficult to photograph, very challenging. I walked around Woods Mill for most of the morning and saw several small birds and lots of water and lots of very muddy places, but unfortunately no water rail. Eventually I decided I'd call it quits for that day. This was on the Monday, and try again another day. So this now is 48 hours later on Wednesday, and I'm back at Woods Mill. It's still very grey, still very damp and still very muddy. But this time I've arrived a good 2 hours earlier than I had on Monday, and I'm a lot more optimistic that I might find the water rail. So apart from stopping to have a look at the river there, the stream I should say, I'm heading to the Hyde, where I understand it's regularly seen. My first visitor is this grey squirrel, one of actually several that popped in to pick up what they could. Here was a beautiful little nuthatch that also flew in, and there were several other birds came in. And then here it was, at last, the water rail. Unfortunately, it didn't stay very long. It did this one quick hop in and then hopped out again. So I then concentrated on photographing a dunnock. But I thought I'd sit tight and just see if the water rail returned. And sure enough, My patience was rewarded. A few minutes later, after this squirrel had had another visit, here was the water rail once again, and this time I concentrated on taking still images and made the most of the opportunity. This time, fortunately, it didn't dash off, and I was well rewarded for my patience and my early arrival that morning. I hope you enjoy these images of a beautiful little bird.